Okay, we are into a new week in our class, October 29th through November 3rd. And learning management systems is what we're talking about. So this next unit, we finished the synchronous digital communication unit. Now we're on to learning management systems. Well, I'm sorry, the unit is actually building an online course. And so that's what you'll be learning to do. There's an assignment that will be outlined later in 2 or 3 weeks. And you'll be creating basically a week's worth of content in a learning management system. And this isn't set up yet, but you can start learning about your learning management system now. And the two that I think we're going to use this semester that I think are most relevant are, of course, Brightspace, or D2L, which is what we're using for our class right now anyway. But what it will do is give you a chance to create your own week's worth of activities in a course. And then also we'll probably use Google Classroom. And Google Classroom is kind of an interesting one. It's new, it's being developed right now, it changes over time, so it's kind of interesting to use. But I think that one's more common to be used in K-12 than is Brightspace or Moodle or some of these other ones, at least here in our area. So those are some things to be looking toward. That's the reason for the activities this week. So you're going to be reading textbook chapter 6 and then 8 lessons learned from teaching online. And there's kind of an interesting article about, or a video I guess, about teaching online. So that's what to do for the readings. And then there are presentations on learning management systems. Now there are a whole bunch here. And I would say to, of course, do these in order. First is the Learning Management Systems presentation that I have up there, just talking about them. And then also there are videos from Brightspace, or D2L. D2L has now been renamed Brightspace, I guess, is the D2L. I think D2L is the company, Brightspace is the system. Anyway, learning about how to do Brightspace from an instructor point of view. You've done it a lot from a student point of view, obviously, because you're in this class. But how can you do this from an instructor point of view? There's Moodle course creation basics too, and I think it's important for you to understand that it's not just all D2L out there. You can do more activities than that, and with Moodle and Google Classroom you can do different types of activities. They are all called learning management systems. They all do much the same things, but they do them in maybe different ways. And some of them can be more effective than others in supporting the type of learning that you would like to support. And so sometimes instructors have preferences for certain ones. And then there's Google Classroom, learning Google Classroom. So this week is an opportunity for you to watch these videos or read it, as the case may be. Pay attention, try to learn what you can about learning management systems and how you might set up your own week's worth of courses or course activities in a week to do that. We have a discussion also going on this week, synchronous presentation tips. Now you've presented synchronous, and share what you've learned with your fellow classmates in this discussion. Post 3 to 4 main lessons that you learned from your synchronous presentations and discuss each. Actually, I think I'm going to change that. I think I want more depth rather than breadth, so I'm going to say 1 to 2 main lessons that you learned from your presentations and discuss each. So what did you learn from your experience? You probably already wrote about this by this time and submitted the assignment. But what did you learn from this experience, and what was valuable that maybe you can share with other people on the discussion for this week? And finally, there is going to be a happy hour experience on Saturday, November 3rd at 9 to 10:30. So this one is going to be much like the last one. I don't have any content necessarily that I plan to present, so I probably won't record this session, but I do want to make myself available to you as well. And this will give me a chance to just answer any questions that you may have or talk about any topics about the class so far. Just making myself available for any office hours if any of you have questions or comments or things that you would like to talk about during that time. I don't think I'll record it. And again, it's okay if you can't make it or can't attend. It's just an opportunity to connect a little bit more than what we do in general. So that's the happy hour, Saturday, November 3rd, 9 to 10:30, and you can click on this link to access it, and it should let you into that online session. It'll be a Collaborate session, and we can collaborate if you want to. Finally, I'm at the AECT Conference this week. It's still Saturday. I'm recording this a little bit early because of some things that I have to be to Monday. So a couple things that I learned I just wanted to share too in this experience of being at this conference. This conference is really all about a lot of the concepts we talk about in this class. Some of the latest research, some of the latest practice that we have. But I think something that I found or listened to that was very pertinent to this class was a presentation where they took a bunch of, I think there were 8 of them, award-winning online teachers. And they were award-winning professors or teachers who did very well with online learning, had been recognized for their quality at their online learning. And so they said, well, let's interview these teachers and find out what they would say about online learning, about how to be effective. And of course that's important for us to know because this is what this class is about in a lot of ways. And I thought it was kind of interesting. One of the top things that they mentioned in this study was that the online instructors said that the most important aspect of being a good online instructor was a willingness to learn. Not a willingness to teach, but a willingness to learn. Isn't that interesting that they talked about that? They also talked about being up on research on online learning. So their willingness to learn, reading research on online learning, and how to deliver content, reading the research, being up on the research on that. And then they talked about also creating a safe environment in the online learning space where students felt like they could share the things that they needed to share, and then having a high presence in the online learning system. So we've talked a lot about some of these concepts already, haven't we? We've talked about having a good social presence. We talked about the community of inquiry framework, where you have cognitive presence, teaching presence, social presence. And then finally, these instructors said, be willing to assess yourself as a teacher, not just assess your students. So that's kind of interesting too. Every quiz that students take is also an assessment of yourself as a teacher. Because again, if students don't do so well on one certain topic or idea, then maybe that's something that you need to do a little bit better job of presenting to students, maybe in a different way, or giving them more opportunities to practice that concept. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And going back to willingness to learn, which was kind of the top thing that they talked about, they said that it's important to push students a little bit further in the discussions and in the other activities so that they are willing to come up with new ideas, new things that you hear as an instructor. And anything that you hear as an instructor, hopefully there's enough back and forth in the discussion or conversation of some kind that you are learning things, that you're not just putting things out there for students to regurgitate back to you, but you're actually having students engage in the material and coming up with new things and presenting interesting and different ideas or ways that the learning is going. So I think that's an inspiration to me, and that can be an inspiration to all of you as you think about this enterprise of online learning. So anyway, I thought that was a great thought. I think that's all for this week, so have a great week and good luck with the activities.